Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another interesting edition of the program CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievements of the Corporate Affairs Commission. My name is Amina Jibril. Coming up, what's next for accredited customers who fail to revalidate their accreditation on or before 10th June 2021? National Industrial Court reaffirms its 2019 judgment on the jurisdictional scope of trade unions in Nigeria. Plus, CAC chairman gets honored once again. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. We begin today with the report that the Registrar General and the CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, was amongst selected few dignitaries invited to grace a dinner in honor of Ademola Siriki, the chairman, CAC Governing Board, and Nigerian ambassador designate to the Kingdom of Spain, hosted by the Embassy of Spain in Nigeria. The chief host, Spanish ambassador to Nigeria, Marcelino Cabanas Ansereno, while speaking at the event, described His Excellency Ademola Siriki as a wonderful personality endowed with enormous potentials to improve the already existing bilateral relationship between both countries. Ambassador Canabas Ansereno therefore prayed God to guide Ademola Siriki as he sets to begin the national assignment he's been saddled with by President Muhammadu Buhari in recognition of his sterling leadership capabilities. Other special guests at the event to rejoice with the CAC chairman were the Ministers of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Judiofor Kusike Oyema, the Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola of the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and the Minister of State for Health Adeleke Olorunimbe Mamora. We say congratulations to the amiable chairman of the CAC Governing Board and the Nigerian ambassador designate to the Kingdom of Spain, Ademola Siriki. Now from the ambassador's dinner, we move to the cheering news that the National Industrial Court of Nigeria has reaffirmed its 2019 judgment that the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporations, Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services Employees, OPTA, have no jurisdiction to unionize senior staff in public and statutory corporations. The president of the court, Honorable Justice Benedict Bakwap Kanyim, while delivering a judgment, stressed that its earlier judgments cannot be reviewed and added that OPTA has failed to rely on points of law and provided no satisfactory answer to Corporate Affairs Commission's claim that it is a junior staff union. He further frowned at what he calls the dependent OPTA duplicity of preliminary objection and therefore pronounced that the court's 2019 judgment, which says OPTA is a junior staff union, still holds and should be construed. The judge therefore ordered that copy of the judgment be made available to both parties within 7 days for further compliance. CAC Weekly recalls that the Corporate Affairs Commission had earlier filed an originating summons before the National Industrial Court, asking it for further reaffirmation and interpretation of its earlier judgment on the jurisdictional scope of the OPTA. We now proceed to a regular interview segment. You may recall that the CAC had on the 2nd of June 2021 issued a public notice on the reminder of suspension of accreditation accounts not revalidated by 10th June 2021. The Commission stressed that accreditations that were not revalidated by customers at the end of the prescribed date shall be suspended by the Commission. Now, CAC Weekly caught up with the Registrar General and CEO of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, who brings us up to date on the revalidation exercise, amongst others. Do enjoy watching this.
Many thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Some time ago, the Commission did issue a notice informing accredited agents, to revalidate their accounts. And we're seeing a reminder again, and this time around is accredited customers. So what is the difference? Is it accredited agent to accredited customers?
Well,
because people would say agent is different from customer,
no,
isn't it?
It's actually the same thing.
Okay.
It means the same thing. Right. The reminder is because the deadline is fast approaching. By 10th of June, any customer that fails to revalidate his accreditation will disable him. He will not be able to submit or get results of his application with the commission. As we have explained, the whole essence is for us to be sure of the persons we are dealing with. Because as an accredited customer, the transactions you bring to us is not your own. You are doing it on behalf of third parties. You are doing it based on their instructions. So we needed to be sure that we are dealing with the right person, that you have the necessary qualification to deal with the commission. As you may know, we have 3 classes of customers or agents. We have lawyers, accountants, and chartered secretaries. Even when you qualify as a lawyer, you are called to the bar to practice law. That does not automatically enable you to come and transact with CAC. You have to get accredited with the commission. We have to be sure that you are paying your practicing fees up to date, that your name is still on the roll of legal practitioners
Okay.
before we accredit you.
When are we going to have journalists as part of accredited?
Well, unfortunately, you are members of the 4th estate of the realm.
Okay.
We don't file by your calling.
Okay.
You are not supposed to be filing documents on behalf of third parties.
Okay.
But these 3 classes of professionals, we have accountants that prepare financial statements. And if you look at the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, the only 3 classes of professionals that the law allows to be company secretaries of public companies are accountants, lawyers, and chartered secretaries. So the analogy was derived from there, that if the law has given you the authority to be a company secretary of a public company, you can as well serve as an agent for any other company. And that practice started long ago. At that time, the registration processes were manually done. Ordinarily, it is the responsibility of the company to make its own filing itself. But because it was impossible for every company to visit the commission to transact, the commission now came with this idea that let's introduce the use of agent so that we will reduce the number of customers that will be visiting the commission at any point in time. So professionals like lawyers, accountants, and chartered secretaries are being used. But with technology now, companies and other registered entities have the option to create their own entity account. When they create an entity account, they can make their filings directly. So they have the option either to engage a lawyer, an accountant, or chartered secretary, or they can make their own filings. And some of them have even lawyers, chartered secretaries, or accountants in their employment. So those persons can as well file on their behalf. So these are part of the ease of doing business initiatives to reduce the cost of doing business in Nigeria. As I have said, this notice was issued long ago. And why revalidation? Most of the accounts we have, some of them were created 15, 20 years ago. We are not even sure whether the individuals that created these accounts are still the same persons that are making submissions through these accounts. Because we didn't have any system for revalidation until now. So, and the new company registration portal has placed a lot of responsibility on agents. We have relaxed some of the stringent rules in the past that you must bring documents that has 2 signatures of directors or secretary. If an application is submitted through an accredited agent, as of today, through the portal, is deemed to have been authorized. So, since an accredited agent has the right to make any filing on behalf of any company, the assumption is for him to do that, he must have been instructed by the company.
Okay.
If after investigation it is found that he was not authorized, then he will take responsibility because the law is clear. If you make any false filing or false submission, you may be liable to up to 2 years in jail. So, because of that, we needed to be sure that the persons we are dealing with are actually eligible to practice, either as lawyers, accountants, or chartered secretaries, and they are the persons using these accounts.
Okay.
Because some of them have shared their information with third parties. Some of the accounts are being managed by people in business centers because some of them don't have their own full-fledged office. So If after revalidation, you decide to share your login access with another persons, it's squarely your own responsibility. So that's the whole essence. And the revalidation comes with a cost of 10,000, but it's one-off.
That's why I was
It's one-off. You see, people are complaining about why are we charging? We need to survive as a registry. Okay. And beyond that, you are not just submitting. We also have to review your application. You are supposed to upload your practicing fee receipt, your professional certificate, and other documents. And we have officers that sit to review this documentation. And before we now approve and issue a number. Nobody is complaining when he pays fees to his professional body every year.
Of course.
Nobody is complaining. So if you are dealing with CAC, you are dealing with CAC not in your individual capacity, but on behalf of others. Because by your calling, you are eligible to accept briefs from others to come and file with the commission. So to that extent, you needed to pay CAC. We'll be revalidating every 2 years. Okay. It will be at no cost to the customers.
Okay.
It will be at no cost. And you have to bear in mind that some got accredited 10, 15, 20 years ago. They only paid 2,000 naira.
Oh, yeah.
So the payment is to ensure that, because nobody will just come and pay 10,000, except you know that you are serious, you are taking briefs to come and file with CAC. You know, for you to remove money and pay, it creates a sense of seriousness in you, because you know that you are not doing it for free. And in any case, we don't regulate how much you charge your customers. Unlike other jurisdictions, when somebody is engaged to register a company, they even put a maximum amount that you can charge the customer. We don't do that in Nigeria. And we have another class of accredited customers. Individuals that were accredited while they were doing National Youth Service Corps. Okay. Some of them have not come back to accredit as full-fledged lawyers or accountants or chartered secretaries. So those accounts created for them as NYSC will no longer be valid, because the purpose for which it was created is no longer there. They have ceased to be members of the NYSC. They cannot use those accounts. But what we will do for them is, because for some of them that have pending transactions, we don't want them to lose the history of those transactions. We may still give them the same particulars, but they have to apply to register as full-fledged legal practitioners that are practicing on their own, or full-fledged accountants or chartered secretaries, not as co-members. So these are some of the measures, and the process is very seamless. Okay. Because unlike before, where you have to visit any of our offices, you submit your documents, we give you a card with your accreditation number and your photograph. That is no longer the case. Okay. It's now online. You just upload your documents, we review it. If we are satisfied, we approved it, and we send you the accreditation number, and with that number you can log in and do your transaction. And we have also introduced another thing, that for any customer that got newly accredited between 1st January 2020 to date, he doesn't have to revalidate. Okay. Because that is still new. He doesn't have to revalidate. You only paid last year, though the amount was 5,000, but you don't have to revalidate. So most of the young lawyers that got accredited, maybe since the accreditation, he has not even gotten any serious brief to help him recover his 5,000. So we are not imposing a burden on such persons. Okay. So we'll still recognize the accreditation issued to them, and they will continue to transact with us without having to revalidate.
Who will say, where does the commission get its powers to accredit? What would you be saying?
We have our regulations, and in any case, as I've said, unlike the rules of court, the laws governing the right of audience in court and other things, the right to even come to the commission and transact was given by the commission. So we can take away that right. Unlike the court, where a lawyer has a right, except where you are disqualified from practice, you can walk into any court, defend any client. And you are dealing with the CAC, you have to be accredited. The mere fact that you are qualified as a lawyer does not entitle you to just walk into CAC. The same thing applies to accountants. The only persons that, as of right, have a right to come here are the entities that we register. Because you register them, the law requires them to file returns. The law requires them, when they make any change, to come and file. So they can do it directly, or they can go through accredited agents. Okay. So the whole concept of accredited agents is intended to ease right of access to those entities. And if you go to most other countries, they have other agents apart from lawyers, accountants, and charity secretaries. Some don't even have any agent at all. Anybody can walk into the registry, provided you are the owner of the business. In other countries, you apply to be appointed as a company registration agent. But in Nigeria, we're using recognized professionals. And the whole essence is to ensure that there's sanity. Yeah. And when you are dealing with somebody who is under some rules of professional conduct, you can be sure that if there's any infraction, you can report him to his professional body. So the use of lawyers, accountants has actually brought sanity.
And there's no extension after 10th of June?
No, there is no extension. As I have said, it still remains open, even after the 10th of June. But what you will not be able to do if you don't get revalidated is your account will be blocked. Okay. You won't be able to submit.
So it means you can't do business now?
Well, he may have businesses outside CAC. but with CAC, now, until you revalidate, you won't be able to make any filing.
All right. But let's move to the free registration. You know, of recent, the internet is awash with free registration, CAC carrying out free registration with even an extra 50,000 naira on top.
I don't know where people got
even with the CAC logo.
No. You see, unfortunately, in as much as social media has its own advantage, but it has also become a platform for spreading falsehoods and lies. And unfortunately, I don't know, I cannot see why somebody should fall into that, because we have our official website. The information didn't emanate from official website. So our people are very gullible. We don't cross-check information. So for anything coming from CAC, please verify from our official website, www.cac.gov.ng. We didn't issue that, and I think we countered it almost immediately. They even said a trip to London, to go and do what in London. Yes. For somebody that you are giving capital of 50,000 naira to, how much is a ticket to London? If you give him the cost of that ticket, that will be far and above the 50,000 seed money you are giving. An important issue. The only free registration we are doing on behalf of the federal government is the survival fund. And that one is strictly for business names. We also have another arrangement with SMIDAN. SMIDAN, they normally train and onboard small businesses. So we register them at a reduced rate. Even the survival fund, the government gave us about 50% of the cost. But on survival fund, we're almost done. Where the project is almost over. We're rounding up now, because for most of the states, we have reached the maximum allowable ceiling.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And now the allegation of fraud from the ex-unionist. Just how true it is. Why is it still recurring?
Well, these are where allegations made in January. You know, some of the unions thought the only way to get at you is through intimidation or blackmail. But we will not be intimidated. And no amount of blackmail will deter us from the path we have set out for ourselves to make CAC one of the best agencies of government in Nigeria. The union, we didn't ban the union. It was the court that banned the union, that says Opta is a junior staff union. And because all the officials before now were senior staff, we asked them to leave. But they were free to join another union. They wanted to remain in the same union after the court had pronounced that. So some of them had constituted themselves into a parallel management in CAC. Anything management does, they counter it. They try to set staff against management. But the staff have refused to accept that. So we had to post most of them out of the head office to go and work in other locations, because some of them were not doing anything. So the only thing they thought they could use is to make allegations of fraud, this and this and that. The procurement process is transparent. We've not done anything contrary to the rules. And whatever we do is in line with the regulations and the Public Procurement Act. All the approvals are there. There was no single contract that we awarded without a cost to the BPP for no objection or without advertisement in the newspapers.
Some people will say there's no smoke without fire. So what is the cause of the fire?
No. This is actually a question of corruption fighting back. Because what I did, there have been complaints from staff that contributed money for a housing project that was being managed by the union. They instituted the project in 2009 and collected over 600 million naira from staff and outsiders to build a housing estate. As we speak, no single house has been built. And some staff kept their money for over 10 years. Some have still not gotten a refund. Nobody knew the extent of what they collected. Nobody knew how the money was utilized. So we now, because of complaints, staff wanted to report the matter outside the commission to investigation agencies. We said, no, let us do an audit. Because initially there was a joint committee. In 2017, management constituted a committee with 2 members of management to find out what the issues were. They refused to cooperate. They didn't make any information available to those 2 members of management. So we now constituted an audit committee to do a forensic audit of the project. Some of their members are members of the audit. We have a deputy director who is a chartered accountant as a chairman. They resisted that and said they are not accountable to us. We are not investigating the account of the union. We are investigating a specific account dealing with the housing project. And for some of the staff, the monies they gave them was from the housing loan they took from the commission. In fact, the commission paid directly to them on account of the housing loan given to the staff. So you cannot collect money and fail to render account. You are not insulated, you are not immune because you are a union official. So when we insisted that the audit should be carried out, that was when they started this blackmail. So they refused to cooperate, they refused to submit themselves to the audit. When we issue them query, they will get the national body to reply to those queries. Before you become union official, you are first and foremost a staff. And you are accountable for your actions. So that's the whole thing that led to all this. I'm a public servant. My actions are subject to public scrutiny. We have different set of audit every year, apart from our external auditors. We have auditors from the Office of the Auditor General. We have people from the Office of the Accountant General that come to review our books. So if I am doing anything that is inconsistent with best practice or with extant guidelines, they will know. But you know, because they realize that our people are gullible, and I cannot waste time every now and then going to media to go and counter allegation. The law is clear. He who asserts must prove. So if you make allegation, substantiate your allegation. Some of the allegations were that we bought servers for 87 million. We bought 2 servers at a discounted rate from HP. But we could not buy directly as an agency. We have to buy through somebody who is a licensed dealer of HP. And 3 companies submitted bids. It's the BPP that cleared those bids, and we approved it. The Ministerial Tenders Board approved it. I didn't approve it. So all these issues are very clear. People are even, it's laughable actually, because people know that these allegations are false. There has never been management that has been prudent in the management of resources in CSE like the present management. But you know, typical of union, anytime they have issues, their thought is through making allegations of corruption and other things that will make you to submit to them. We will not be submit what we are doing. And in any case, they don't have any locus to even ask management to do anything because the court have declared them illegal as far as the senior staff of CSE are concerned. They cannot unionize senior staff of CSE. So they don't have any locus to even negotiate with us. We are not negotiating with them. If they are coming on behalf of junior staff who are mainly drivers and security, fine. They are free to do that. And another thing that hit them was when we stopped remitting check-up dues to them, irrespective of senior staff. Before now, every month they were getting over 2 million naira. But the money has come down to 1 million, to 200,000. So these are some of the grudges. And we're not going back on that because we're not doing anything wrong. The courts have said it. that Opta is a junior staff, as far as CAC and some other agencies are concerned. And we will stand by that. If you go to the schedule to the Trade Union Act, it's clear Opta is not meant to unionize senior staff of CAC.
All right. Alhaji Garba Abubakar, Registrar General Corporate Affairs Commission, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And on that, we come to the end of this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Now, for comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. On Facebook and Instagram, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is cservice@cac.gov.ng. You could visit our website at www.cac.gov.ng. And you could reach us via our helplines and the numbers 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971. 090-874-01598 or 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Do join us next week for another interesting edition of the program, same time and same station. From me, Amina Jibril, and the whole team here, it is bye for now.